There has never been a better time than now to come join the Bellisio Foods team. Bellisio has a new contract in place with plenty of awesome perks for their employees. From increased wages, access to the free health clinic, vacation after 6 months, and much more, Bellisio Foods is committed to putting their employees first. For more information or to apply, visit BellisioFoods.com/careers. Take advantage of these great new employee benefits and join the Bellisio team today. Visit BellisioFoods.com/careers to learn more. Never have our community heroes been more worthy of recognition than today, and Wendy's is here to show thanks for all they do with a free breakfast for a year giveaway. Starting Monday, November 15th through December 9th, we want you to nominate the individuals you feel have gone above and beyond. Just go to yourtotalmedia.com/communityheroes and give us a line or two about why someone you know deserves free Wendy's breakfast for a year as part of Wendy's Thank You Thursdays campaign throughout this holiday season. That's right, our community heroes have the opportunity to win free breakfast for a year from Wendy's, which includes a delicious breakfast combo. We'll select a community hero every week on Thursday, and you'll hear their inspiring stories on the air. You can nominate anyone who's made an impact in our community. Wendy's wants to reward our dedicated and hardworking individuals because these heroes have kept our communities together and running. Make your nomination today at yourtotalmedia.com/communityheroes, and Wendy's will be providing free breakfast for a year to those deserving individuals.
Christmas in My Mind. Presented for your Christmas time enjoyment by the D.N. Davis Vocal Choirs of Jackson. At the Marquette Cultural Arts Center, Main Street, Jackson, Ohio, on December 11th at 7 p.m. Admission is $5 online at marquettetickets.org, or $7 the day of the concert.
Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the morning show right here on Main Street TV. Of course, Jennifer here with our good friend Pete Wilson, who is back. Welcome back. We missed you.
Thank you very much. Glad to be back.
Yeah, we're going to hear a little bit about your trip in a bit, whether you like it or not. But
Okay.
of course, morning news update brought to you by our good friend Nia Henry, agent for Appalachia Realty. And if you're looking to buy or sell or have any real estate needs, give Nia a call, 740-418-4135, and she'll be working hard for you. We apologize about the delay, had a little bit of computer issues, and James did some stuff, and now it's working. So
Okay, the man behind the curtain.
he is our
comes
brilliant
through again.
man. Yes.
All right.
That's
Okay,
right.
well, we do have a lot of news to report about. I came back to work yesterday, found that the staff led by our associate editor, Phil Buffington, who
Yes.
stepped into my shoes, did a wonderful job, kept up with all the news. I just had to look at some files and be ready to talk here on television this
That's
morning.
right.
And we know we're talking about a mix of hard news, soft news, Christmas season news. So let's get right with it. I've got a couple of kind of breaking stories to talk about, and then we're going to
Sure.
bring Phil in to talk about a continuing hard news story that just keeps on keeping on. And
That's right.
he'll give us the latest on that involving the elections board. But last night, Jennifer, some people may be aware of this, the sheriff's office in Jackson County
Yes.
put out an alert notification. They were concerned about Glenn Pauley, 88 years
Yes.
old, Jackson County resident, who they fear has early onset dementia, made it a little bit more of a concern that he had been missing most of the day.
Okay.
Apparently, he had not been seen since noon. This was yesterday on Wednesday.
Yeah.
And early in the evening, they put out an alert for everybody to be on the lookout for him. They gave a description of him. He was last seen driving a Chevy Silverado pickup truck. So
Yep.
you
Got that text from the sheriff.
Right, you just don't know the whereabouts at all, and because of the age and the medical concerns,
Sure.
there was some heightened concern there. About a half hour later, though, in case people didn't see a follow-up alert, Glenn Pauley was found safe and sound. So
Good.
that's the happy story there. So if you did see our initial report that we put out last night, everything is well.
Good.
Mr. Polly found safe and sound, and
Good,
we thank everybody
Love
who
that.
might have helped locate him. All right, another thing we want to tell you about yesterday, we posted yesterday, Red Thompson Jr. was on the way to a sporting event. I think he was going to cover in a bowling match in Wellston, and he came upon what looked like, a fairly serious wreck there on the south end of Wellston, South Pennsylvania Avenue and McGee Lane. There were two
Okay.
vehicles involved. The police were there, Wellston Police, Wellston Fire Department. And Phil Buffington this morning did some follow-up work on that. And for those who, we're going to be posting that information on our website and Facebook very soon. And it's on there now. Great. Okay. If you want to take a look for the particulars there. But what we can tell you is after getting information through Wellston Police Chief John Robinson this morning is that there were two vehicles involved. One was a vehicle driven by Christina Whitney Eileen Clark, age 28. She is Grady Lane of Wellston. And her vehicle struck a 2011 Ford pickup truck, which was driven by Cody Tyler Hatfield, age 27, of the Logan area. Both vehicles had one passenger each. However, none of the passengers sustained injuries. The only reported injury was to Clark, and that injury was described as minor. However,
Okay,
this was
good.
at the end of the afternoon during a busy time. It closed Pennsylvania Avenue for a very short time, I understand. And for people who saw that and also saw what we posted, an initial picture, that is exactly what happened. Those are the
Okay.
details there. And of course, it's already on our Facebook, on our website, if you want to see the picture of that wreck. And then, of course, we'll have it in our print edition of the paper, which comes out on Saturday. Okay, I referenced the Board of Elections,
Yeah.
Elections Office controversy issue involving the replacement of staffers. Remember, Cheryl Browning, Deputy Director, and Joanne Evans, Director, longtime
Yeah,
staff members.
correct.
The two full-time members, they run the office. They're both going to be retiring at the end of June. Well, they started the process late in the year to find replacements and then do an extended training period starting in January.
Yeah.
That's
that
where the
makes sense.
controversy began on the selection recommendation of who is going to be the so-called Democrat-appointed member, because it is a bipartisan thing. One of the full-time staffers is a Republican. One of the full-time staff members is a Democrat. On the recommendations of the individual parties, and the Elections Board does have the authority, though, to actually make the hiring. So that's the background. But Phil has done a great job covering this story, jumped in there. This started to break just when I went on vacation, but he jumped right on it, talking to the different people who were involved. And it's been a front page story, and there is a little bit of an update, and we're going to bring Phil in to tell you where that stands now. And I believe we're going to have to wait a little bit longer to find the resolution, but
Oh my.
he'll tell us about it.
Phil, I feel like we just are always here talking about this.
Yeah, seems like it. So the last update that I had given, there was going to be a special meeting of the Board of Elections on the 15th.
Oh,
And
yes.
they were going to retake the vote for the trainees because the votes had been rescinded. And that was on the recommendation of Prosecuting Attorney Lovett at a meeting held on December 1st.
Right.
So that was where I left it. Unfortunately, now it appears that they're going to repost those positions. All the people that had applied prior are still in the running. They don't have to reapply. They're going to contact all those individuals to see if they're still interested. Obviously, Luke Scott has rescinded his application, so he won't be in the running. They're going to post these two positions again. They've told us they want to run the ad in this Saturday and next Wednesday's paper. They're going to also, I've been told, they're going to update the qualifications or some of the language involved in this. We haven't gotten the particulars of that yet. That's going to run until the 20th, or they're going to accept applications until the 20th, rather. And then they are expecting at this point to tentatively take the vote again on January 5th during the regular board meeting that would have been held either way. So the meeting held, set for the 15th, is canceled. I think they're going to have some training that day, but there will be no vote taken that day, no official business to go on.
Is this all just stemming from people involved feel as if this has just turned into a giant mess and they're just starting over again fresh?
I'm not really.
Or how I feel like every time you come in, and we love to have you here,
Yeah.
but it's just like, oh my gosh, it's a mess.
Yeah, it has been. From what I can gather and what I've been told, of course, there's a disagreement on this matter also. Lisa Parker and the Democratic Party members feel like this is completely unnecessary because they feel like what was rescinded were just the votes that were taken during that special meeting on November 19th. And now, according to what I've been told from Cheryl Browning, Warner, and the people at the Board of Elections, that they've been advised by prosecuting attorney Lovett that what they did during the December 1st meeting actually stopped the entire process, did not just rescind the votes, but stopped the process altogether, and it has to restart again fresh.
Okay.
So the Democrats disagree. They feel like they've already made their nomination. They've made their voice perfectly clear. They want Marcia Beatty. That has been the stem of all this. The Board of Elections not going with their initial recommendation. However, when the vote is taken this next time, which would have been the case on the 15th also, but when they meet again next month on the 5th, they'll have equal representation on both sides. They'll have
Sure.
A full board again.
So what happens if they like tie, or because it's two members on each side, right?
Yeah.
What happens if they don't have a majority?
I'm not really sure what happens in that. at
You'll
that
be
point.
back to talk about
Yeah,
it?
I suppose so. But yeah, I don't know. Pete, do you know?
Not unless it would be a tie. The tie would be broken by the Secretary of State.
Yeah.
Normally,
Okay.
the Secretary of State, my understanding is, doesn't get involved with staff positions. They do with board members.
Okay.
Okay.
Interesting.
So that could be
Well,
another thing
we'll
that
see.
we'll talk about here in a couple
Right.
weeks, I guess.
Phil may never not be here.
You never know. But all we're awaiting now, and we should have it sometime today, hopefully this morning, is the updated posting for these two trainee positions, and we'll have an idea of what that updated list of qualifications is going to be.
So if somebody wants, is interested in this job and you missed out on applying before or didn't know about it, this is an opportunity to put your hat in the ring.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
And part of this, again, I mean, the Republican Central and Executive Committees didn't meet prior to this and pick a candidate. They left that up to the two Republican board members on the Board of Elections to choose their own candidate.
Had they chosen a candidate?
No, they decided to just leave that up to the Board of Elections members. Now, the Democrats did. They met. They picked Marcia Beatty. That's
Okay.
who they wanted. But then, you know how that
Then
went.
that got over or outvoted or whatever.
So now, according to what I've seen through the Democratic Party, they're debating on whether or not to have another meeting after Christmas to, choose another candidate, or to just. I think the majority of them want to stick with Marcia, and probably just forgo having another meeting and just say, we're going to stay with what we initially recommended. But they, just like us, are waiting on that updated list of qualifications, is what I've been told, that it's
Okay.
going to be altered just slightly. And of course, there was a big to-do about Marcia Beatty not having a driver's license, and some of the Democrats are worried that maybe they're going to add a stipulation that a driver's license is going to be required, and that would cause some complications. But that's just conjecture at this point, so we'll have to just wait and see what happens. I'll let you know.
Yeah, you will. All right. Well, thanks, Phil.
Back to Pete.
I can't believe this has gone on so long. It's just like the saga that never ends of the election. Well, I would have to say though, and I would think you guys would agree with this, that there's probably very few times where both Board of Elections, head people leave at the same time. So this is kind of I think a special case.
That's a complicating factor. And
Yeah.
over the years,
Thanks, Phil.
over the years, here's kind of like the bugaboo in this whole thing. It's not law, apparently, but it's been the accepted practice that the respective Republican and Democrat parties, the committee people, the party people, the organizations, can decide who sits as board members and as staff members, and that it is it is to be, in most cases, if not all cases, accepted by the Secretary of State and
Right.
then the elections board itself, which votes on some of these things. And so
Kind of a gentleman's agreement, if you will.
Right, right. And so in this case, the Democratic committee led by the chairwoman Lisa Parker is unhappy because they believe that the elections board members, which when the vote was taken, there was 2 Republicans versus 1 Democrat,
Right.
didn't follow this recommendation, this time-honored recommendation.
Right.
Whereas the 2 Republican members, from my understanding, felt like they had a responsibility to pick the person who they thought was best, and it didn't happen to be the number 1 choice of the Democratic committee.
Okay.
So you tell me.
Well, let's start over again, Pete.
Well, that's exactly what is apparently going to happen,
Okay.
according to the county prosecutor, who is responsible to figure out all the legalities.
Okay. Well, and again, all of that information will be posted in the paper so that you can,
Right, it'll be
read all of the specifics.
Yeah,
and
the
all
legal
that.
advertisement is, we're supposed to get that today. We have a deadline for that because of the print schedule of the paper. We are to get that this morning. It is to be printed in the paper on Saturday. It'll be, as part of the e-edition too, perhaps late Friday,
Okay.
you can see that.
So
But
you'll be able to know.
We'll also be writing into our news story too, because, it is certainly an important public issue.
Yes.
All right, to talk about some other news now, Jennifer, both bad and good.
Okay.
I guess we'll start with the bad since I'm a Grinch type guy.
No, you're not.
All right. Well, anyway, it just so happened the next thing on the stack was a bad thing. What's a bad thing but a good thing? This was reported yesterday by the MacArthur Police Department, and this was about an incident that occurred last Saturday, December 4th. On that day, Officer Bryce Chesser of the police department was investigating a theft complaint, and he located the alleged suspect, who has been identified as 20-year-old Bryce Mash. And the thing about Bryce Mash, and there is his picture up there on our monitor. Mash was already wanted on a warrant, so that made it a double thing in addition to being the theft suspect. When Chesser was taking Mash into custody, Mash then fled from the officer, but he was captured a short time later. When he was taken into custody and placed in the Southeast Ohio Regional Jail, and that was technically because of the felony warrant from the Vinton County Sheriff's Office. When Chesser searched, or when a search was made, I'm not sure that Chesser, the officer, made the search, but when a search of Mash's person was made, suspected illegal narcotics were found on his person.
Gotcha.
So all this is now wrapped up together. The theft complaint, the fleeing from the officer, which you're not allowed to do,
No, don't do that.
and
Bad stuff.
and then also the suspected narcotics on Mash's person. So all this happened on Saturday, and it was just reported yesterday by the MacArthur Police Department. We have that information already on our website and on Facebook as well. It'll be in the paper, of course, on Saturday. Also wanted to report, and there's so many names and details on this, I'm not going to go do all the names, but the probation department of the Jackson County Municipal Court, a lot of people may not understand that they really get involved into what is related law enforcement activity.
Mm-hmm.
They have a legal right, to check on their probationers. Remember, people are put on probation after, they've been accused or even convicted of a criminal offense. That's part of the
Correct.
sentence or part of the follow-up of the sentence. And, there can be random searches and like that, unannounced, and like that for
Absolutely.
certain reasons, a suspected illegal activity. Well, the probation department in the last week is especially busy. There were searches and arrests that took place in Wellston, in Jackson, in Colton, and out in the county, with as many as 7 different people arrested. We're going to have all that. We're going to have that story in our Saturday paper, and we're also going to be posting it on our website and Facebook before Saturday as well, through our online subscribers to see as well. And there'll maybe be a link on Facebook that you can get to our website on to read about that. But whenever this happens, this is a great tool for law enforcement if you're looking at it from their side, because regular law enforcement, they can't necessarily do residential
Well, no,
searches
they don't
or
have time
whatever
for that.
without probable cause.
Yeah, and
But when you're
right.
on probation, you've given up some of those rights
Sure.
because of what's happened in the past. You're on a tight leash. And
Very much so.
right. And what happens is not only is there a so-called probation violation potentially if the probation officers find illegal activity or find you even doing certain things that are not technically illegal but that you're not allowed to do because you're on probation, that allows the law enforcement agency in that jurisdiction, whether it's city police department, sheriff's office, highway patrol, that allows them to then make arrests and new charges for new illegal activity. So, from my standpoint, everybody's innocent until they're found guilty, of course, and they certainly have rights. But what this is I think what the active probation department that we have here in Jackson County acts as a great deterrent, I think, to further illegal activity because if you're on probation, you've already learned in Jackson County that that you're subject to this follow-up searches and so forth if information is received that you might be doing something bad. In the case in the city of Jackson, the probation department was called because the police had received information about suspected illegal drug activity. Well, the police can't have to have probable cause to make a search, but the probation department they don't need to get a warrant and all that stuff
Nope.
because they have their rights because of the terms of probation.
Sure.
So anyway, that is an ongoing way that the probation department really aids law enforcement here in Jackson County, and we have these stories come out at least once a month. And it just so happens that in the last month, Judge Mark Music's probation department has been very busy.
Yeah. Sounds
All right,
that
we're
way.
going to go to an elections issue in Benton County.
Another one?
Right, and I'm not sure whether Phil reported this when he sat down with you guys last week, but so if this has already been reported, I apologize, but I will repeat it. Remember, in the last general election in Benton County, we had a tie vote in the village of Hamden.
Oh.
Right.
No, we haven't talked about this.
All right, a tie vote in the village of Hamden. There were 4 council spots that were up. I think there's 6 or 7 council positions. Not sure because it's a village council. But the top 4 were going to get elected. Well, for that 4th spot, Dale McManus and Chuck Boyer each had 71 votes.
Okay.
All right. There's 4 seats and there's 5 people because they were candidates 4 and 5. So what they did, that was on election night. They did an official count, which happens anyway, and that includes a recounting of all the ballots from election night plus provisional ballots and late absentees.
Right.
When that was done in Benton County, Dale McManus had 1 extra vote. He had 72 votes, and Chuck Boyer had 71.
See, your vote does count.
Oh, it does. I mean, this happens time and time
The
again
one
when
vote.
we throw out that bromide that
Yes.
your vote counts, even though it's just 1 vote. So 72 to 71. It was still close enough that they had to do a recount because of the percentage difference in the vote. It's just 1 vote. And that recount came out exactly the same as the official count. 72 votes for Dale McManus, 71 for Chuck Boyer. So Dale McManus is that 4th person who will serve on the Hamden Village Council starting in calendar year 2022. All right, another thing that we want to report on that many people in the city of Jackson are aware of, but we have a formal news story that came out last week on this, and that is the dire need for firefighters in the city of Jackson.
Big time.
I know, Jennifer, just from my own knowledge, that at one point, a Jackson City Fire Department, and this has maybe been several years ago,
A few years ago.
had 18 members.
Yes.
And remember, this is an all-volunteer group. You have a fire chief and an assistant fire chief that have a small part-time salary. And then you have all volunteers who receive nominal pay, call-out fee, and then per hour. Very nominal, though. You don't do it for the money, obviously.
No.
Well, so they are it's considered a volunteer fire department. Well, I told you they had 18 at one time several years ago.
I remember. It was...
And they were talking about needing more then. Well, then it went down to 12 at one point. Well, there were a spate of recent resignations and retirements, whatever, that occurred in the fall. And they were now down to 7.
Yes.
7 members, and that is not enough. You got to remember, these are not full-time people with full-time obligations. Many of them have other jobs.
Yeah. And
One
lives.
one of the
Yeah.
challenges for all the fire departments in Jackson County or small town rural fire departments is fires which happen during the day, because that's when a lot of people already are working. If they're working out of town or whatever, they can't drive from
Can't be in
Columbus
two
to
places at
Jackson
once,
to
yeah.
do a fire. And some people aren't allowed to leave their work to do this because they're expected to be at their work. So it's a real problem during the workday. But in the city of Jackson, with only 7 members on the fire department, I believe that's the current number, there is a need for volunteers any time of the day. And so a call was made out by Fire Chief Dave Channel and the city officials that there is a need for firefighters. So if you've ever thought about doing this, you can call the city, call the fire department, contact Dave Channel,
Yeah.
and you just don't sign up and you're a firefighter. You got to do training.
You do, and pass a couple of things, physicals and whatnot. Weren't they going to? Didn't Dave say they were going to do some open houses and things coming up?
They are at the first of the year. The Jackson Fire Department will be hosting open houses in 2022. The public will be welcome at these events, and they will serve to maybe not only recruit firefighters, but inform the public better about what the fire department has to do
Sure.
and how important it is. It's an easy thing to take for granted. I've always thought the fire department firefighters were heroes because, public safety personnel, EMS, police, fire, law enforcement, there are even people that volunteer their time in auxiliary positions there. But most of those professionals are full-time people or part-time people. Of the firefighters, most of them in Jackson County are volunteers, and some of them
That's
don't
right.
get paid a dime.
Yep.
And so, you got to
Doing it for the right reasons.
right, you got to honor those people. So, if you had any interest in learning about what it takes to be a firefighter, you can call the Jackson Fire Department and leave a message. I believe that number is 286-2707. If you know how to get a hold of Dave Channel, I think they have a Facebook page as well. Leave a message. Call the city. They're there Monday through Friday, and they can put your name down and connect you with the fire department.
Get you in the
there.
right direction.
But this is, I think, in all the fire departments, they're glad to get new members. But in the city of Jackson, it is, I would say that it is a dire situation, the need for new members. All right, some congratulations go out. We want to congratulate Tiffany Ridgway, Jackson County's, the Jackson County auditor, who is in her first term. And Tiffany jumped on board immediately and got involved with the Southeast District County Auditors Association. She served in an officer position very early in her first term as Jackson County Auditor. Well, just very recently, she was selected as the president, the incoming president for the Southeast District of the County Auditors
Way to
Association.
go.
So that was a very quick action for her to get that position. And she is going to be serving as president in the upcoming year. It is a regional arm of the Ohio County Auditors Association. So I'm sure that she's going to be working with that group as well. And so congratulations to Tiffany Ridgway there. We also want to congratulate a veteran Vinton County Sheriff's Office employee who recently retired. Captain Lytle Kane retired after 20 years of service.
Well, thank you for your
And
service.
sitting sheriff in Vinton County, Ryan Kane, who's worked with Lytle Kane.
Are they related?
You know what? I don't know. It just occurred to me, Kane and Kane.
Kane and Kane.
But he did thank Lytle Kane for his service with Facebook and through a news release, and we wanted to acknowledge that as well. Tough job, and he was an officer there in the Vinton County Sheriff's Office for 20 years. Continuing our congratulations, the Jackson Post of the Ohio State Highway Patrol has announced that Michael Irvin, he is a trooper there at the Jackson Post.
Okay.
He is the 2021 Jackson Post Trooper of the Year. And this is a very nice award, and it's extra special because it is based on a vote of his peers.
Aw.
The criteria is leadership abilities, professional ethics, courteous treatment of others, enthusiastic work attitude and cooperation, and a good relationship with his supervisors and the public.
Very good.
So congratulations
Good job.
to Michael Irvin. Michael started his career with the Ohio State Highway Patrol at the Portsmouth Post in in 2007. And in 2018, he was transferred to the Jackson Post. He resides in Scioto County. He is a former Marine. So he came up through the military and right into
Wow.
the highway patrol. Okay, we can't have a news update without talking about COVID-19.
Of course not.
I'm sorry.
That's all right.
And unfortunately, the latest report that we have from the Vinton County Health Department is reporting increased cases. I know that kind of the general trend on this thing, even with the Omicron concern, is that, things are getting better. And, they are overall, if you look at the big picture over a period of a month, but in Vinton County in the last week, cases did increase. No new deaths, fortunately. But they reported, the Vinton County Health Department, this Monday, 62 active COVID-19 cases and 5 hospitalizations. In its previous report a week ago, which was on November 29th, they had 45 active cases and 5 hospitalizations.
Okay.
So active cases up 45 to 62. And I think there has to be a little bit of concern about the Omicron and
Sure.
What that'll do, because, is it going to be as bad as the Delta? Because, the Delta was certainly
It was not
responsible
good.
for a lot of the cases
Yes.
that have occurred here in Jackson County as well. So I can't give you any update on the Jackson County Health Department. They've not put out any new report for the past couple of weeks. You can go to the Ohio Department of Health and their special website, their COVID-19 website called Coronavirus, and you can get all kinds of statistics,
Sure.
statewide and local, broken down. And we may do that to pick up some Jackson County stats. But in Vinton County, we can say for sure the cases are up. All right, Jennifer, you can put on your businesswoman's hat on now.
Okay.
Because, we talked about the vaccine mandates
Yes.
that have been proposed. And of course, some of them are already occurring at different levels.
They are.
The Biden administration in Washington would like to see, vaccine mandates go into the private sector. They've not been ordered yet, and there's a question whether, they can do that from the federal level.
Yep. They're arguing that as we speak.
Right.
Honestly.
And the Ohio Chamber of Commerce and other business groups have fought that because they feel like business people should be able to make that decision themselves.
Correct.
All right.
Yep.
Well, we're going to flip the coin, and from the other side, the Ohio Senate has a pending proposed legislation that would be another requirement, but it's on the other side. It would, if it passed, it would force businesses not to do vaccine mandates if they wanted to.
Oh.
Well, guess what? The Ohio Chamber of Commerce, who opposed vaccine mandates, also oppose the state of Ohio saying that you can't do vaccine mandates. So it looks like
Yes.
the business wants to say, if you want to do vaccine mandates, that's your right. If you don't want to do vaccine mandates, that's also your right.
Correct.
What do you say?
I say it should be, up to the individual
decision.
business owner. Yeah, I mean, again, that's taking away rights of the individuals, and government shouldn't be legislating healthcare. I mean, well, your health,
Right.
Your health choices.
What you do in your doors,
Correct.
at least.
When they want to start paying my electric bill and for all the food that goes through the place, so be it. But right now, don't be telling me what to do.
All right. Well, I thought that was interesting because the Ohio Chamber of Commerce, which is probably the foremost group representing local business, big and small, they were on both sides on this.
Because it's about choice.
On the side of choice. That's exactly
it's
right.
Choice. And, I'll be honest with you, people are having a hard enough time finding staff members at this point. You start getting into that, and I mean, there'll be nobody to work.
Mm-hmm. Right, exactly.
Let's be honest.
No,
And that's not just saying, I'm not saying even in our area, I'm saying worldwide.
Exactly.
You start mandating all of this stuff and people, they won't do it.
Well, anyway, just a caveat, not to throw a wet blanket on anything as we head deeper into the holiday season, more events
Correct.
going on, et cetera, family gatherings. The COVID-19, the cases are still out there, and so it's all up to each person what they think they need to do, each business what they think they need to do, et cetera. Some places you don't have a choice on the mask wearing or whatever, but even though I think the majority of Americans believe we need to be back to business as we largely are, that doesn't mean that it's not out there.
Correct.
And so
Yeah,
the
just
things
be safe.
the things that we can do to make ourselves safer, and everybody seems to favor getting the vaccine. It's just the issue is whether they should be forced to get the vaccine.
Correct.
So anyway, we'll move now to another announcement from the Jackson County Municipal Court. We talked about what the probation department is doing. Well, they have announced that they plan to open their Wellston Municipal Court Division on Friday, December 17th to hold cases. That'll be from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. That is on the second floor of the Wellston City Building at 203 Broadway Street. A lot of the court proceedings have been held in Jackson. They stopped doing them in Wellston, but they will be doing cases on December the 17th.
Okay.
All right. I'll clear my throat, and we'll go to the Marquet Cultural Arts Center.
See, you're out of shape. You went on vacation and now you can't talk.
Right, exactly. All right. Okay, the Marquet did a Giving Tuesday telethon.
They did,
That was
yes.
very successful. Over $16,000 was raised.
Can you believe that?
Exactly. And here are some of the volunteers, if you're looking on your Facebook monitor, computer, or whatever. Some good leadership from the Marquet and from their board members and staff.
Yep.
And from other volunteers who just stepped in to be able to raise $16,000 in one night is outstanding.
Yep.
And of course, our staff was involved in that. Total Media, James Hamilton
Yes.
was involved in, getting that out to people as it occurred. And so turned out to be very, very successful. And, one of the things about the Marquet, we have to keep stressing this, have that beautiful facility there. And Barbara Summers, who made it all happen as the executive there at the Marquet, and all those board members that were on for so long, many of them no longer on the board, they gave us this great facility. It took 20 plus
amazing.
years to raise the money and to build it and get it to the way it was.
But she's paid for.
And it's paid for. That was so big. Barbara's big thing was, let's
We're
have
paying
no
for
debt.
this thing.
Let's have no
Yes.
debt. Let's not have that hanging over our head in addition to operations. And that has turned out to be so important to the facility. But the point I was getting to is just because it's there doesn't mean it doesn't cost to operate it. It costs to have programs. It costs to
huge
pay
amount.
bills, utilities, and so forth. And the Marquet needs income coming in. And there's different ways that it can come in: memberships, donations, admissions from events, etc. But they're trying to operate as much as possible on a nonprofit type basis, but they've got to be able to make the ends meet.
Yep.
And so that's why this telethon was so important.
Yep.
$16,000. Congratulations to everybody who was involved in that. Matt Wilson, Jules Stewart, Kelsey Stewart.
Yep.
They were some of the people. Our own Amanda
Yep,
Crabtree
Amanda.
was a major force in all those things that were happening.
Yes.
Speaking of the Marquet, there is a new exhibit there. It is called Pater Planetarium, and that is translated from Latin meaning father of the plant. And that is, you guessed it, that is Matt Wilson there.
Love it.
It is his exhibit, and I think he's happy that it's there. What do you think?
So. I love his outfit too.
Right. Well, Matt is a talented local artist,
He is.
virtually self-taught in a number of mediums, including acrylic painting, watercolor, colored pencil, lino cutting, and digital art. And this is his exhibit, and it's very visual, of course, as you might guess. And
Of course.
it will be there through the end of the year, December 31st. And the times to see it when the gallery is open for sure is Wednesday through Saturday, 12 to 5 p.m. And so, lots of stuff going on the holiday, but don't forget to stop by and see this exhibit at the Marquet. All right, last night, another evidence that, we're back to almost regular.
Right on.
Is that there was indeed, after a 1-year hiatus, there was a D. Merrill Davis carol sing
Love it.
at the Jackson Middle School. And this isn't just a school event, Jennifer. You're dated. I'm even more dated than you. You know that this isn't just a school thing. This is
No,
a community thing.
it is.
Long standing in Jackson.
Yep.
It goes back 79 years. It was started back in 1942 during World War II. And the thought was we need to do something to lift the community spirit during wartime. And this
Yeah.
is what they came up with, and it has gone on ever since.
Love
and,
this.
And D. Merrill Davis, of course, one of Jackson County's icons, great historical figures of all time. It was named after him after he retired. And he is the one that made
So
it
fitting.
a must-go event, whether you were a school person or a community person. This is the one of the choir groups singing last night, and we want to give credit to the current Jackson High School choir director, Ian Stasko, who was in charge of all the choirs there. He is, and he even had it set up so he invited choir alumni to come, in connection with the fact that it is a community thing that, not just a school thing. He had alumni sing. And I know
That's so fun.
I'm guessing, I wasn't there, but I'm guessing that they had some group singing too, where the audience could sing
Yes.
some of those more well-known carols.
I think that's one of the most unique things about the Carol Sing is the fact that the audience gets to participate. And I don't know that you see that a lot, but that is something that's been a tradition for a really long time. I can remember being in choir, and it, God bless them for letting me in. The audience participating in that. So it's always just a lot of fun to go. It kind of kicks off your Christmassy mood.
Right, exactly. It's kind of like the Festival of Trees now, the Festival of Lights. It's kind of it's into the Christmas season a little bit, but it's one of the last big events before the schools close for Christmas, and you have all those kids, I think, getting into the Christmas carol tradition somehow.
Yes.
If they don't get that at home, or
Right.
at church. So that's great as well. All right. Well, last week I wasn't here for all this, but I know that it occurred and that it was a success. The weather was pretty good all the way through the weekend. All of these Christmas things that happened. And
So many.
we've got a few pictures to show you
Yeah.
while I talk about it. But on Thursday, December the 2nd, Jason Brown at the Mayu Brown Funeral Home had his Christmas cheer
Thank you, Brown
of
family.
yesteryear, and I understand great weather for that. And they have nativity scene, they have exotic animals like camels, but the most popular thing by far are the horse and carriage
Yep.
rides. And you go to a touristy place or whatever, it might be $40 to take a horse and carriage ride around town.
Yep.
Well, Jason Brown offers this as a free service.
They do.
It is his family and his business's gift to the community.
Yep.
So never,
It's
please
wonderful.
take that for granted. It is a wonderful event. They have school choirs there singing as
Yep.
well. It always draws a big crowd, and we thank our editorial assistant Alex Shope for going out and covering that. I know that he was impressed by it. That same night, Red Thompson Jr. was working. They had a cookie walk
Yes.
in downtown Jackson that also proved to be successful. It got a lot of people downtown.
Doesn't surprise me that Red opted to do
Yeah,
the
he
cookie walk.
Did he volunteer for that job?
I'm guessing that he probably did.
If you know Red, you know that he would be the guy for the cookie walk.
Right, he may have had the most cookies, but we can't verify that, and so that we put that out as a qualifier. I'm sure anybody
None
counted.
of the cookies made it back here.
Oh, okay, well, we do know that much.
That's right.
We do know that
We
much
didn't
for
get
sure.
any here.
But we want to thank Jennifer, a group that I know you're very aware of, the Jackson Downtown Association. There has been different groups. Years ago, there was a group called the Jackson Retail Merchants, and it was basically a downtown group
Sure.
to try to, jazz up the downtown, do coordinated things. And the Chamber of Commerce had been involved in some of those things, but that is a good thing to see those merchants coming together to try to get people downtown. And some of them aren't merchants, even business offices or whatever. And, it's kind of like it's kind of like one step forward, one step back. A new business will come in, one will leave, or whatever.
Right.
But Jackson's downtown is a great place. They've got the decorations down there. The architecture, most of it is still intact from the mid 1800s.
Yep.
So it really is a neat place. And there's some business openings down there now, but there's still some new ones as well. The Downtown Treatery, for instance,
For sure.
they've been successful in one of those old business places. And
You got it.
So we do appreciate the Jackson Downtown Association and for what they're doing. They've had these Thursday events on some weeks of the year, months of the year when the weather allows. So their cookie walk was successful as well. And then, of course, you had all the Christmas things that occurred on Saturday, Jennifer.
Oh my goodness. I mean,
All over the place. We're talking
was
about
everywhere.
the Jackson Light Up
There's Santa.
in the city of Jackson. That is the Wellston Lions Club float, which was busy that day. They were in Wellston earlier in the day, of course, for the Lions Club Christmas Parade, which was part of the Wellston Christmas Treats Christmas Treats on Wellston Streets event.
He said it.
Right, and that's Main Street. And the Grinch was there.
Yes.
I think the Grinch was in Oak Hill and was in Wellston too. And there was something strange. You never saw the Grinch and Charlie Hudson at the same time. That's all I can tell you about
Interesting.
about the Grinch when he visited Wellston. So I don't know. But anyway, you take from that what you want. But I looked on my phone when I was away on vacation and saw that the weather was sunny and in the 50s.
Yes,
which was
it was
great
nice.
for that event. And of course, in Jackson, there you have fireworks.
Yay! Thanks,
course.
James. That was a good picture.
That is always going to be a great picture against that clear black sky that night.
Yep.
They shot those, from the Eddie Jones Park, but the Manpower Park, where a lot of the Christmas activities ended up on Saturday night, that was a great place to be to see the fireworks. And so great weather for the fireworks as well. And in Oak Hill, that is a shot in Central Memorial Park. The Oak Hill Historical Society, the Oak Hill Festival of Trees, the Chamber of Commerce, I think all three organizations had something to do with what happened in Oak Hill. The Historical Society does the tree event or the tree project in Central Memorial Park, and the trees are lighted that night. There
Yep.
you see some of them there at Central Memorial Park. Congratulations to the Historical Society. What's the Historical Society got to do with Christmas trees? Well, it's just a great community group.
Absolutely.
They want to help the village and the Oak Hill area in whatever way they can. In Jackson, there was a Christmas tree lighting as well after the parade and before the fireworks. And Barbie McCatherine and her Cultivating Our Future group was responsible for that. More trees than last year. They spaced them out. The spacing was a little closer together because the COVID situation is better. And there was a few more. I'm not sure how many, but I'm thinking somewhere around 80. And if you drive by Manpower Park, it is pretty impressive. Meanwhile, in Wellston, back on the weekend of Thanksgiving, I think, Thanksgiving weekend, the following day on Friday night, I think that the Ohilco Society lighted their trees in Pride Park there by the depot. And this year, I talked to Lexi Kaufman, who is one of the organizers with the Ohilco Society. I'll listen to this. 135.
They have a
lighted
million
Christmas
of them up there. That's huge.
Right. They started selling them or spots back in October, and they were sold out, I think, early November. They kept waiting lists or whatever in case somebody wasn't able to do a tree or whatever. And she told me they hope to expand it somehow next year. But obviously, very impressive, 135 trees.
Wow.
What does the Ohilco Society that does the Ohilco Festival have to do with Christmas trees? Once again, community-minded group just finding other ways to help their community other than their main mission.
Wow.
So congratulations to them. And in all the places, Oak Hill, Jackson, Wellston, all those groups, of course, had the cooperation of the city and village officials. Okay, in MacArthur, I don't know whether there were any cookies, but Red Thompson Jr. was up there as well, too.
I'll bet there was
to
food.
cover the Christmas in Downtown event in MacArthur. That was also on Saturday. And Santa Claus was there. They had a big parade, and they tie in a lot of events with merchants.
Yes.
In the downtown area. That's why they call it Christmas in Downtown. A lot of the merchants run specials as well. At school, in the school buildings, even though it's not a school day, so there are some activities going on with school groups where they're doing a project or an event as well. It's a big community thing in MacArthur and in Vinton County. And of course, they had good weather up there as well. And it is true, I can reliably report that Santa Claus was at all 4 locations.
He gets around.
Magical is what
It
I would
is.
call it. All right, and this wasn't on Saturday, but we want to mention it. The village of Colton had Lena's tree lighting. That was on Wednesday, December the 1st. And Lena, that refers to the late Lena Humphreys, who was a businesswoman in Colton many years ago. She's now passed. Her family sponsored a Christmas tree there behind the community building.
Yes.
And for 4 or 5 years now, in conjunction with the village of Colton and Mayor Kim Milliken, they have the Lena's tree lighting ceremony.
and they decorated.
And they decorated, and that
Yeah.
tree is lit during the Christmas season, and it's all started on the evening of December the 1st. All right, and then I wanted to just give you some final notes from the Festival of Lights.
Okay.
That, of course, was held, that was Lisa Warrens and the Jackson County Board of Aging jumping in to take the place of the American Cancer Society in Jackson to do the Festival of Lights, which used to be called the Festival of Trees. Well, it turned out to be a wonderful event. Alex Shope was there, and I know everybody knows that occurred, but I do want to tell you that they had great participation, attendance. They had a lot of people who decorated the trees, and then they had buyers step up. As a matter of fact, the top tree, the most traditional tree and people's choice, the 6-foot tree, which was sponsored by Cross and Sons. It was decorated by Vicki Williams and Sherry Howe, who are longtime friends who went to high school together. Randy Adams, who has, of course, the accounting office, he purchased that for $3,100.
Wow.
So, I mean,
thanks, Randy.
And there was a lot of purchases that were in the $500 category, but this was the biggest one. So I wanted to mention that and invite and salute everybody, the decorators, the sponsors, and of course the buyer there.
Yeah.
And it was a sight to see there in the Memorial Auditorium, the Festival of Lights. And once again, this was another community event that has kind of been built into our DNA. That would have maybe gone bye-bye if it wouldn't have been for somebody stepping in. In this case, I have to credit Lisa Warrens.
Right. Thank you,
and of
Lisa.
course, she had a lot of help. And, just because, you're willing to do these things, they don't work unless a lot of people want
No,
to
it takes
help
an
you
army.
make them work.
Yep.
So congratulations to them. As far as I know, the Jackson County Women's Club is still doing their holiday candy store in downtown Jackson.
Yes.
Just a couple doors down. And have you been in there?
Not this year.
Okay. Well, you
I'm
better
trying to be good.
Better not
Pete.
wait around too long. Well, you can give candy away to somebody else.
James,
you
didn't
can
you
bring
say
it
you went in there?
You can bring it in here. It's okay.
I could.
Yeah, I went in there.
Okay.
He said he was like a kid in a candy store.
Yeah,
Okay,
literally, yeah.
that phrase certainly works there. But it's at the address there is at let me see. I don't have the address. Yes, I do. 281 East Main Street. But basically, we're in the old radio building, 2 doors to the left there towards the courthouse, same side of the street. That is where the former Jackson Linus Club candy store, now the Jackson County Women's Club holiday candy store is, and they will stay open until they sell all their candy. I know the sales went really fast early, and they opened on November the 15th.
They always sell out pretty quick. So if you want some stuff, you better get in there now.
Right, and I apologize in advance if they've already closed, but normally they'd still be going at this time.
Yeah.
I just wanted to give them another little boost on the publicity since it's been a while since they first opened.
That's right.
Okay, the Jackson Vinton Farm Bureau is going to do an event this Sunday.
Yes.
That has
it's gonna
been
be a good
big
one.
event. Right, I think Kim Harless talked about
She
it.
was here yesterday
I won't
to
say a
talk
whole
about
lot
it.
about it then, but I did want to say the drive-through breakfast with Santa will be at the Jackson County Fairgrounds from 9 a.m. to noon. It will be, and it's at the fairgrounds. There's free pancakes, sausage.
This Sunday.
It will be provided compliments of the Jackson County Jackson Vinton Farm Bureau. It's a community service project. There will be live animals on display as well. I'm sure the Farm Bureau will have some information about what they do. I'm thinking that Santa, maybe even the Grinch might be there.
Yep.
So
That's what I've heard.
This was a wonderful event. They've been doing it for several years. It was a wonderful event last year. And I'll tell you what, it is so good that it won a statewide recognition from the Ohio Farm Bureau.
That's right.
And there's 88 counties in the state of Ohio, so that was pretty cool.
Yes.
All right, so let's see, what else is there? We're worked our way down to sports now, Jennifer.
Okay, good.
The Ohio Prep Sports Writers Association is putting out their All Ohio football list this week.
Okay.
Yesterday, they named the Division II and Division III teams. And Division III is where the Jackson Ironmen are as far as their division.
Okay.
And Jackson had a great season, and
They
it was
did.
noted by the panel of statewide sports writers and broadcasters who picked these teams. Grant Maston, Jackson's top defensive player and one of their best players. He is a linebacker. He had the distinct, great honor of being named first team All-Ohio in
Yay,
Division III as a
Grant.
linebacker. Jacob Winters, who is a junior and he's our quarterback, he was named to the second team, which is a big honor for
Way
an
to
underclassman,
go.
second team
yes,
All-Ohio.
for sure.
And Ty Jones, who played on the defensive line. You didn't often hear his name because he's doing all that dirty work on the line, but he was a great player. He was named to the third team.
Way to go, guys.
And then we had 2 young players, 2 sophomores. So, chances are we're going to hear a whole lot more about them the next couple of years. They were named honorable mention. They were running back Cade Wolford and kicker Ethan Crabtree.
Little Amanda.
Right. And Cade was the leading rusher on Jackson's team, even though he was just a sophomore. He also tied for the team lead in interceptions. And Ethan Crabtree, all he did was, I think he was something like 64 of 65 in extra points. Can you believe that? Only missed 1 extra point, and I think it was in the last game.
Oh, no.
So, or it was one of the final games. Because he had an unbelievable streak there.
That's awesome.
I wished we had records where we could say that this was a record, but that has to be a record.
Yeah, I would say so.
And so, I think that Ethan has his eye on a college scholarship, maybe. He's a talented young man.
He is.
I know he sings good academically and all. He's been in the plays before, but he thinks he sees a college scholarship for him if he keeps on that track, and he had a great sophomore year. He's well on the way. So best of luck to him, and congratulations to all the players who were All-Ohio from Jackson. It's basketball season, though, now, Jennifer.
It is.
And the radio is now broadcasting high school basketball games, both boys and girls. The season underway now for a couple weeks. I want to tell you about a couple games coming up tonight. 3 games coming up tonight, as a matter of fact. The Jackson Iron Ladies will be playing the Greenfield McLean Lady Tigers tonight at Jackson. That game will be broadcast on WKOV 96.7 FM. Shortly after 7 o'clock, you can hear that broadcast. Myself and Dan Morrow will be there broadcasting. Also on the schedule tonight, the Vinton County Lady Vikings coming off that state tournament appearance last year, and they're going to be good again this year, I guarantee you. They will be hosting the Nelsonville York Lady Buckeyes. That will be on WYRO tonight, approximately 7:15 broadcast time. And the Wellston Lady Rockets, who hope to have an improved season, they will be hosting the River Valley Lady Raiders in a TVC Ohio matchup. All that tonight.
It's a lot.
There's 3 boys games tomorrow night, another boys game on Saturday, and we throw in some college games as well. The Ohio State University Buckeyes and the Ohio University Bobcats. So, a lot of sports on the radio.
Lots going on.
Exactly. Okay, well, I'm through my stack and I'm out of gas. You got anything?
No, a couple birthdays, Pete.
All right.
We had a couple of birthdays come in this morning, so we wanted to wish a happy birthday to Connie Holtz, who is 73 years young today, from Wellston, and she was turned in by Sammy. And then our good friend Dino Colombini. I think I was supposed to say that. Dino Colombini.
Right.
Right? That's what I was
Maybe
told
he
I had
might
to
show
say.
up at your place for spaghetti tonight.
Maybe. Age 12, from MacArthur. Yeah, right. He was turned in by Aunt Kathy Ann and Uncle Chris. So happy birthday to you out there. I hope you enjoy your special days.
We better call out another birthday girl. Our general manager,
Miss Karina.
Macrina, has a birthday today.
It was yesterday.
Oh, it was yesterday. Okay,
Yes.
well, we're still going to say it,
But
aren't
we didn't say it yesterday, so yes.
Okay.
It was. So
Well,
happy birthday, Karina.
Congratulations to her. And she's
Yep.
young enough she could even say how old she is, but I won't say it.
Yeah, that's
So,
right.
When it was my birthday, our guests sang happy birthdays. We won't make you sing
That's
happy
true.
birthday.
Thank
We
you
won't-
very
we won't
much.
do that.
Thank
We
you
will
very
not
I mean,
do
who do you
that.
think I am, D. Mel Davis? I'm not.
Speaking of which, some of the members of the Davis Choir will be here tomorrow.
Oh, okay. The men's choir.
This is the DM Davis men's choir,
Well,
right?
I think it'll be some representatives from the men's and the ladies.
and the
choir.
ladies
Right.
choir. Some of Rick's chicks will be here then.
Right, Rick Knoll, and then Wilbur McCormick on the men's side, and I think he's the senior choir director.
Love that.
And he is working so hard to try to recruit some extra members, and I know they'll talk about the need for more members. We need firefighters, and we need singers.
That's right. So there you go. Listen to Pete Wilson.
All right.
All right. Well, Pete, thanks for coming in today. And of course, thank you all for tuning in to the show today. We appreciate you so much. And thank you, James, for pushing all the right buttons and fixing all the stuff today, because we really appreciate that, because we didn't know what we were doing wrong. So have a wonderful day, and we'll be back here on your Friday. So enjoy your day. Thanks for watching.